Steve, how about Steve?
Do you? Just a old book.
Sarah and I see.
Hi, Wendelin. Just setting up the camera.
Is Wendell FaceTiming you? Is that what
Yeah,
you're-
I'm face living. Yes. Yes, I created it. Like I turned it. I used a program kind of like Photoshop, where you put the picture and just the words, create the card, and then you put the words on that, then save it as an image. Thank you. And then you print it. Yes, you're getting the whole thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah.
So I should tell Steve that, because we were wondering.
Okay. Yeah, you got the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I never heard that.
They're wonderful to read.
Yeah, 26 recipes for cookies. You know, yeah, yeah. They were going for $8 a piece. Captain Charlie's just a little Johnny. Okay, okay,
Thank you.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We're about to start. Yes, it works.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Kanyi's about to give his presentation. So if you all could walk to the other side of the room, please.
Hey guys, if you can, please come by. I'm about to give a presentation on the work and stuff. Let me see. We're also live on.
Stephen, find Rosalind.
Hi Pam. Hi Rachel. Hi Sandra. I'm trying to get it focused.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You don't have to be sorry. I'm not sure what he wants best.
Charlie, let's see. Hi. I think that's okay. Let me see.
I'll just.
Give me a second. I just want to make sure. Yes, yes. Just can you see?
I can't read it, but I can see it.
Okay. Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming. I truly, truly appreciate it. I didn't realize it's raining outside, so you guys have braved the storm and are here. Thank you. So I wanted to talk a little about what y'all are going to see once this presentation is over, and then I'm going to talk to you about what I learned while researching for the work that you're about to see. So the title of the show is Kanyi Muraguri, Inside the American Postcard. But before I start my presentation, I want to talk to you about this location. It's called The Cove. And then we have, I say a bunch of artists, but the word bunch kind of doesn't sound good. But a group of artists display their stuff, their work over here. And almost every weekend, there's a show like mine over here. So whenever you want to take a loved one out on a date, you know, your significant other, bring them here on a weekend. Go on thecovemckinney.com, and there'll be a list of the upcoming shows. Find a show that you like and just come here, support the local artists and just enjoy yourself, and then go to the square and have some wine and find conversation. So yeah, let's start the presentation. So my family, my brothers especially, and I are avid postcard senders. We love sending postcards to each other. And so imagine my surprise when I discovered this postcard, and it's called How Ink is Made. This is a postcard, you guys can see what it is. And I was shocked because I was like, this is horrible. And they're talking about me, you know? So I decided to answer that image by creating my own version. And that's what that is. And so and you'd think that such images were just in the turn of the century. This was created in 2017, you know, by American Apparel. And it's called Sweeter Than Candy, Better Than Cake. And so I created myself I created an image of myself, and then with the same title. And then the idea that my skin is dirty, you know, and all you need is some soap, a good scrubbing, you know, we'll take it off. Started during the Reconstruction, and during that time, the Civil War had ended. People were just struggling, you know, but cleanliness was a big thing. People still had pride, American pride, and they wanted to be clean. But some other people decided to pick on African Americans. And so this is my take on that. And you'd think that, you know, times have changed. When 2018, things are different. No. Dove, you know, had a commercial on TV of this African American lady taking, you know, her shirt off, and underneath, of course, is this gorgeous Caucasian lady. So what I want to say is that I'd like you guys, whenever you look at commercials and ads and all that stuff, just be cognizant of these things. It always resurfaces. You'd think that we've changed, but it kind of resurfaces. The people who are like the offenders, the major offenders, are like the fashion industry and the soap industry. You know, they are major offenders. But so we're gonna start the presentation. Like I love history. I'm a history buff, and I've always learned to question history because the history that's been left out is sometimes more interesting to me than the history that's been left in. And so I'll explain to you, like, where do you think these pyramids are located?
Egypt?
Not Asia, and not Egypt. It's actually Sudan. Sudan has 350 pyramids. Mom, did you know that? No, she was a missionary in Sudan. And so they have 350, that's like more, this is like more than Egypt. So, do you know this lady? Her name is Ada Lovelace, Lord Byron's daughter. Lord Byron is a poet. And she was a mathematician and a writer in the 1800s. And she wrote the first computer program. Now we have, you know, like it's a struggle to push ladies into, or girls into tech. But the first computer programmer was a woman, you know? That's inspiring to me, and that's why my daughters will have to learn how to code. Did you know that Chinese fought in the Civil War? This guy is called Corporal Joseph Pierce. He was born in China. He came here and he fought for this country. So these are the people who believe in America. They believe in American, they just believe in democracy, and they decided to fight for this country. But have they been included in history? No. You know, this guy, he's called Matthew Alexander Henson, and him and Robert Peary were the first to reach the North Pole. So, and you know, the stereotype is African Americans don't like cold places. This guy just decimates that. So we're gonna talk about that, and all that is just the myth of, there's something called the myth of absence. And the fact that there are some people who are present, who have been present in history, but they are invisibly present. Mostly women, in America it's mostly women and people of color. And so tonight we're gonna celebrate them, you know? And so the guy who brought me to this realization was this guy called Bernard Kinsey. And Bernard Kinsey is a philanthropist and also an avid collector of African American art. And he has, if you go to the Plano, the art center of
Plano Art Center.
Yes. It's usually, I usually say this. It's the Art Center of Plano. If you go, it's close to downtown Plano. He has, and that's me, you know, he has art collections or artwork from artists who are there during the Harlem Renaissance. So you have sculptures, paintings. Please go. And if you go, buy the book. I'd like to borrow it. My email is kmuraguri@gmail.com, and Instagram. I'll borrow it. I'll return it, maybe. So let's talk about the myth of absence and invisible presence. So those are the pyramids. But did you know that the reality is that's what's behind it, behind the pyramids? So those buildings are invisibly present. So let's talk about women's contributions, and then after that we're going to talk about American contributions to the building of this country. Because what we've had so far is just dudes. They built the country, you know, and they did this amazing stuff. Windshield wiper, Mary Anderson invented that. The square-bottomed paper bag for your wine, she invented that. Dishwasher, Josephine Cochrane. She was, the word is that she was a socialite, and she'd come home and the servants would always broke her plates. So she was like, I'm tired of this, I'm gonna invent a dishwasher. So the fire escape, Anna Conley. Now a woman had to have invented this. If it was a guy, it would have been a pole or jump, you know? Let's jump out of that building. So, Monopoly, Elizabeth invented that, yes. But it wasn't called Monopoly at the time. So Kevlar, Stephanie invented that. And that is put in bikes and bulletproof vests. Thank you, Stephanie. Stem cell isolation, Anne did that. Call ID, man, that's an awesome invention. And she invented that. Disposable diaper, thank you, Marianne. I have 2 little kids who wear diapers, and I thank her so much every day for that. Cataract surgery, Patricia Bath invented that. Closed circuit television, she invented that. And we have, nowadays people have phones where they can watch their children, you know, in their rooms and all that stuff. we don't do that. We have like closed circuit, type of monitor for the kids. So I'm grateful to Marie for that. And then the pad, and I'm gonna move on because I don't wanna dwell on that. The digital non-lever driven toaster, she invented that with her sister. And then, so those are the women's contributions. So we're gonna talk about African American contributions. So authors, the very first African American author was Phyllis Wheatley. She was born in Africa and then sold into slavery at age 7. And when she was around 17, this lady was a genius. When she was around 17, she published this book of poetry. How awesome is that? Lucius Twilight was the first African American to earn a bachelor's degree. Can you imagine the insurmountable odds he must have overcome? Even the women we've talked about, just the odds that they had to overcome to invent those things. So as I talk, just kind of have that in the back of your head. We're celebrating their accomplishments, but those accomplishments came through. They were a result of a lot of pain and a lot of who knows, So Benjamin Banneker, he was an American almanac author. There's actually a Banneker almanac that he wrote, and he was a surveyor. So Washington D.C., like he was a part of the group that surveyed and laid the plans for Washington D.C. in the 1700s. That's awesome. Artists, look at that gorgeous painting. An African American did that, and his name is Robert Seldon Duncanson, and he was really a big deal. Actually, the Queen of England has his painting, and the Queen of Norway has his painting. This is back in the 1800s. This guy, there's a guy here who painted this. It's called Grafton Tyler Brown. Somebody said he doesn't look African American, but he is, And so, next pass, look at that. How cool is that? Well, Mary did it. And then she moved to Rome, and she was a famous sculptor. And that painting was done. It's gorgeous stuff, man. And the interesting thing is, if you look at the history books, and I do that all the time for research for my work, for my art, you don't see any African American contribution. The only two people is a guy called Robert Lawrence, I think, and Romare Bearden, the two African Americans who maybe get included. And these guys are later, they came later. And so they've been left out, but these people are amazing artists who should be celebrated. Selma Berg, if you look at your dime that has Franklin Roosevelt, FDR, she made the bust, and that image was inspired by the bust that Selma made. And Selma also went back to school and got a PhD when she was 70. How cool is that? Yeah, when she was 70. So, and if you go to the Plano Art Center, one of her busts are over there. So, Art Center of Plano, sorry. The Art Center of Plano. Politicians, in the 1800s, we had senators, African American senators. That was during the Reconstruction. And so one of them, the guy to the far left, was a Senator Hiram Revels from Mississippi. And after him was another senator an African American senator from Mississippi. The next senator who was African American from Mississippi was in 1991. So Thomas was, look at that guy, stud, looks so cool. He's one of the first African Americans in the United States Congress, elected during the Reconstruction. So awesome. And then let's talk about warriors. And some of you guys have been warriors. You fought for this country. And I truly want to say thank you for your efforts. Like the fact that I'm standing here and talking is because of what you've done for us. You fought so that we can have this freedom. And I really thank you for that. And I'll talk about some of your brothers. So these guys were, of course, we had African Americans who fought during the Civil War. And that's, I think, I'm told it's common knowledge. So that's not like an invisible absence thing. But the Buffalo Soldiers, I don't know if you've had Buffalo Soldier by Bob Marley. If you guys like Bob Marley. Buffalo Soldier. But I'm not going to sing because, you came to see art and not hear this guy singing. So the Buffalo Soldiers this is in the 1800s. They decided to join the army. Imagine that in the 1800s, they're like, well, I'm going to serve this country. And Sequoia Park and Yosemite Park, those guys guarded those parks. They built forts around, they opened up the West for the rest for people. But anyway, these guys, they guarded the parks, and they also fought poachers and all that. So these people really contributed to the building of this country. The Harlem Hellfighters. These guys are cool. The Germans called them Hellfighters because these guys were just, let's go back a little bit. They're called Buffalo Soldiers by the Native Americans because of their hair, and also because they were just, they were tough fighters. So yeah, let's go back to the Harlem Hellfighters. So these guys earned the prestigious Croix de Guerre. It's prestigious. I guess it's kind of like an Oscar for fighters, in France. But these guys were so awesome fighters, and one of them is called Sergeant Henry Johnson. Henry Johnson and his buddy what happened is when in World War I, when they went to fight the war, the American government or the military, I forget the name, the guys who were in charge of fighting, said that the Americans are gonna we are not gonna help the French and all that stuff. We're not gonna send our units to help those guys. We're just gonna fight. And then they said, well, you can take the African Americans, you can take them. So they were given to the French. These guys weren't trained, but they turned out to be really decorated. They became like really fierce fighters, and they became the Harlem Hellfighters. So Henry Sergeant Johnson was manning a post with his buddy. And then it was at night, and then he had the Germans coming, and then the Germans started shooting at him and his buddy. His buddy got wounded, and Johnson just kept shooting at the Germans. And then what happened is he ran out of ammunition, so he got the closest cartridge, put it in the gun, and then it got jammed because it was a French cartridge, and it didn't work with the American cartridge. And so he was like, I don't have anything I don't have, I can't use this gun. So he got a knife and he went at the Germans and then just started hacking at them. And then so after that, when the dust settled, the Germans ran away. And when the dust settled, it turned out that Sergeant Johnson killed four Germans, and he routed at least 24 more. So how awesome is this guy? But you don't read about him in the history books. So I believe, and I'm going to talk about my theory, the African American story is the story of America. I'm a huge DNA genealogy fan, and every time I have some time after I put the kids down, sometimes I go on YouTube and I click on videos of ancestry DNA results. And nowadays the kids just have a camera on their face, and what they do is they spit in a little tube, send it in to ancestry.com. They send information back to them about their heritage. Almost always when an African American gets their results, it's usually kind of 50% African, and then there's usually some Caucasian there. There's 20% Caucasian, and then Native American and all that stuff. So they may look like me, but they are America. Their body tells the story of America, and we do know that that's a highlight. There's a lot that I know that there's a lot of history underneath it, but these people, this race, contributed a lot to this country, and they have been left out. And I think it's a shame. It's a big shame. And so that's why I wanted us guys to celebrate them and women too, doing this show. So the myth of absence. So just when you see that, just realize that in the background there's this. So whenever you look at history, just ask yourself, you know, like what's not being said, you know, and kind of have an active mind in that sense. So yeah, thank you so much. I wanted to say that I have postcards at the back of the show. Just grab the $3 and grab whatever, you know, like you can pay $3 or if you want, and you can donate, not donate, but give whatever amount and just grab a card or whatever. So this is my way of saying thank you for coming, and my way of just saying, you know, just I really appreciate you guys braving the rain to come and spend time with me. Thank you. So so do you have any questions or anything you like to say or you learned or
I'll just
thank you.
I'll say the Kinsey thing is incredible.
Yes.
And the history of the Kinsey family and what they accomplished. And he was what, the CEO of Xerox, or
Yes,
I
he
mean,
was. He was a vice president.
Vice President, yeah,
of
Vice
Xerox.
President Xerox. And you know, it's amazing what he did and what he gave. And
Yeah, the collection is made. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go.
it's been on display in the Smithsonian, and just amazing slice of history that I'd never heard of that. And I felt like how could I have missed something like that in that kind of a collection? And it's
But tell them the history, why they collected and Carol, you said it was the pieces that weren't recognized between this date and this date, and they wanted to pay homage to the great artists who have been left behind.
Exactly as
Same thing as what, yeah.
So, but I mean, it's just a very small part of the collection.
Yes, they have
You know what?
they.
The books aren't there. I sent
Oh, okay.
friends to the exhibit.
Okay,
this
they don't have the
week, and I
books.
was hoping because they sold out of those
I think
books.
they
So
Yeah.
they were supposed to order more because what you see at the Art Center of Plano is such a small part of the collection.
They have a huge. These guys have a huge collection. I hear that they're thinking of bringing their whole collection to the African American Museum in Dallas.
Oh, that'd be
and I was
incredible.
told that their collection fills the whole the whole building. So that will be interesting.
But if you go to YouTube, there are
Yeah.
a couple of wonderful videos that show excerpts of them interviewing them on various, news shows that you're all familiar with, and so you actually see more works from the collection if you go to those YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And it's not just art, they also collect historical documents that are
Yes.
fascinating.
Yeah. It's really, really awesome. Really awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. Please look around and enjoy.
Bravo.
Thank you. Thank you. If you have any question, please.
I just have to say you are very inspiring.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate it personally, and I'm sure that everybody feels that way. So thank you very much. It's an excellent concept.
Thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
Yeah, good work, Mama.
You look too young to be his mother.
No, you're kidding.
No, I thought it was.
Maybe his sister.
So where is he? Is the youngest, oldest of your
But the
sons?
difference between him and the second one is only the still Max.
Uh-huh.
And then the other one, Mariah, he's like
So what I did
4
is
years.
also like
Yeah, the one in
Do we know what year he was born at the end of the year? Could be.
Every time I see him,
You never
run into him just
trade
out
ages.
in the world. Yeah, where you're
Could be
somewhere.
younger.
and his brother.
I know.
Brother.
That's why I was wondering. Hello.
The other one
Is that projecting?
I don't think so.
the brother
I think it was.
Thank you, because I was wondering how he used it. You're getting out
What I
there?
did was, then I burnt myself, like I did a lot of burnt. And then I sandwiched dark meat and white. When I removed the white meat, it's That's awesome, yes.
Good night.
Very good.
It was fun. I have a new office.
Sounds good. Very good. Congratulations. I don't know if let's see. Oops. Thanks, Pam. Just give me a second. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. And for listening. Hi, Pam. Angie just left. So. Thank you. Yes. I was talking to Angie. Yeah. No, I'm doing a live stream. Yes. Yeah. Well, good night, guys. Thank you so much. Bye. Okay, give me a second.
Oh, we enjoyed it. You were brilliant.
Thank you so much. You're welcome, Rachel. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Bye. Good night. Thank you, Cindy. Thanks for coming and checking out the presentation. Good night, guys.